What about Taehyung, sir? Master? Who Taehyung? The name hung in the air like a loaded gun. Choi's eyes widened slightly, but he quickly masked his reaction. Master? Spoke as if he's worried about her sanity. From now on, he has no name in this Mafia world. No one will take his name, and to you, he's just him. A task, a mission. Your task is to keep him breathing, no matter what it takes. But never, and I mean never, let me hear his name again. That's the last time you'll hear his name from me, and the last time you'll ever say it. Hesitant. Understood, Master. But you already ended all the enemies who knew. Not all, Choi. Not until my father is alive. Understood that Mr. Kang is behind all this. So my job is to protect, not to eliminate. As he knew, Vine won't order him to end Mr. Kang directly. If anyone else comes for him beside Mr. Kang, end them quickly, quietly. Spoke after an intense pause. And about Mr. Kang, he won't be able to come after him. I'll make sure of that. I won't fail you, Master. Don't worry. You won't dare to. I'll make sure of that too. There was a silent warning in her simple statements. She paused and looked out the window with a distant gaze, her expression softening for the briefest moment before vanishing like smoke in the air. And once again, never bring his name to me again. Not to my ears, not in your reports. This name is a weakness I can't afford. Become his shadow and keep him safe. And away from me. Her words indicated that Taehyung should not know about Choi protecting him, so letting him go. Asked her as he knew this was the last time he could talk about Taehyung. Vine turned away her head and stared out the window as if the conversation was already over. Her gaze blankly stared at her own reflection in the window, which seemed to be glaring back at her. To herself, voice barely audible. Letting go doesn't mean letting anyone take him. At night, Vine was sitting at her desk, her eyes scanning documents spread out in front of her, while her trained hands doing their work on a laptop keyboard. Plane is ready, Master. You can leave anytime you want, stood behind her. Everything has been taken care of. Leaned back, stretched her neck by tilting it and cracked her knuckles, trying to relax her muscles. Next move, Master? Hoping she would share her thoughts with him. Chuckled while thinking about what she did with Mr. Kang, aka her father. I sent all the information on his illegal accounts to the authorities. By now, his money is frozen. He'll be too broke to hire anyone. No money, no power. But he has close ties with many other mafias too. She leaned back in her chair and smirked while staring ahead amusingly as if she is imagining her father panicking. That's the beauty of paranoia. I sent few evidence to his most trusted allies, each claiming that they are plotting against each other. It won't take long for them to turn on each other. And without their trust, Mr. Kang has nothing. Choi was taking his time to digest her mastermind play, and as Vine looked at him by a side glance and darkly chuckled on his lost expressions, make sure it stays that way. Watch everything. If he even tries to crawl out of the mess I left him in, you don't wait, you don't hesitate. You cut him down and make sure he never stands up again. Yes, Master. Firmly. When I leave, my father will be too busy selling himself to hurt anyone else. With a dark smile. Feeling out of senses after witnessing her cleverness, Choi spoke in days. As everything is settled now, there is no need for you to leave, his tone heavy with unspoken concern. He deserves a life without me in it. Exhales slowly. Her gaze fell on Taehyung's picture on her table. She softly held it and praised it lovingly before taking out a lighter and burning it while still holding it between her fingers, letting the flames give slight burns to her hand as well. Live the life I never could. 1 month later, Taeyong's POV, staring at the ceiling while laying in his bed. In the world full of lights, I fell for her darkness. I watched her worst side and chose to love it. There is something seriously wrong with me. But now I can't live without her. Even breathing is feeling like a punishment now. I don't know what's happening with me and I am not incensed to make a sense out of it. I just want her. It's not just love, it's obsession. She's in my blood, in my head, in every damn breath I take. I can't sleep without dreaming of her. I can't wake up without feeling the ache of her absence. Vine isn't just someone I love, she's the chaos I crave. The fire that burns me alive, and I would let it consume me 1,000 times if it meant having her back. Life without her fire, her darkness is not lost at all. She's just surviving, and I would rather die than settle for that. She hasn't come in front of me after that night, when she saved me from that accident. I don't know where she is. How can I meet her? Suddenly sat alert on his bed. Got it. Spoke excitedly as if she solved the universe's biggest mystery. She always comes out of nowhere when I am in danger. That means to meet her, I have to meet the danger first. Two days later, I walked into a like notorious, known for Mafia stealing pot and shady stuff. I don't intend to stay here for a few drinks and think that she'll think it's a danger for me and come to get me out of here. I'm here to mess with any strongest looking Mafia party, just to get some movement or even a tiny reaction from her side. Pathetic, I know.